This is Mamaw Reviews, the final installment, well, of our Harry Potter review series.
And in all of my 80-some years, this has taken the cake. I have never watched or read anything that is as spooky as this is.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, is it just spooky stuff?
Well, one
or?
thing, that old snake.
Oh,
And
snakes.
It took them till the very end to get that thing killed. Almost the end of the movie. Before that old snake was done away with. Every time you look around here, he'd come sticking his nose out. I mean, there was so much in it. There was so much sadness.
Yeah.
There's so much sadness. I mean, they're just Dobie and Fred and Tonks and Lupus. And Tonks and Lupus left little baby Teddy. And it was so sad. And I still don't know whether really, I mean, it took something to get rid of that Voldemort.
It did.
Yeah.
Of course, they started out at the beginning of the movie. They were going to break into the bank in order to get the first of the horcruxes that they get in the second part.
Yeah.
Then managed to escape. You remember this?
Yes, I remember they got on that old dragon.
They did.
They got on the back of that old dragon. And that old dragon zoomed up into the air, And they got out there, it flew way out through there, and then it landed, and they jumped off.
Then they ran into Dumbledore's long-lost brother.
Dumbledore and his brother had never really gotten along, and they had a sister, and her name was Helena, wasn't it?
Ariana Dumbledore.
Okay.
And so, yeah, they ended up in the castle. They went into the room of requirement, which is where they ran into Draco, who has been throughout the series somewhat of a thorn in Harry's side.
Yeah, and I'm a little bit confused about Draco and Lucius. At the end of it, which side was they on?
I think they were on their own side, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Lucius, at that point, had become just so humiliated that he really wasn't on either side, and Draco was never really brave enough to be on one side or the other. But he helped Harry out. And, of course, in the end, you saw him there on the train platform with his son.
Yeah, with his son.
So I guess he worked it out eventually. But poor Crabbe did not. So then, while Harry's doing all that, Ron and Hermione are down in the Chamber of Secrets.
Ron and Hermione.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought you'd enjoy that.
They got them an old sugar, and that was one of the better parts. And later on, Harry and Ginny.
Yeah.
And that tickled me, but that was happiness. I mean, there was a happiness in the movie. You know, things that make you happy, but then it was things that made you sad.
Yeah. Yeah.
And things that you just can't understand.
Well, we'll have to talk about that. I mean, of course, getting to the sad part, Harry, he goes down to the boathouse and finds Voldemort and Snape.
Mm-hmm.
Professor Snap, as you were fond of referring to him.
And he was a strange. But he was really on Harry's side.
He was.
Because he had loved Harry's mother.
Yes.
Lily.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's why he deep down, and he said Harry had eyes like his mother, blue eyes. He was still in love.
Were you surprised when you found out about that?
Yes. Somewhat surprised.
So what do you think of Snape now? Now that, I mean, you've been pretty against him for...
Well, he's a strange. He was strange. he was very hard to understand, and I think that he, since he had not been able to marry Willie, I think there was some part of him that was never complete, never quite complete, because he continued to desire his mother, Harry's mother, and therefore I guess he would like for Harry to have been his son, but since he wasn't, he was kind of, which way to go.
Yeah.
And those scenes with Dumbledore and Harry walking and talking, is, it seems as if at that time they were in the unknown, that they were both dead. But really, Harry wasn't. Dumbledore was
At the train station.
He was kind of like maybe a saint,
Yeah.
That you'd see in a vision. And then when Harry asked Sirius, what?
Sirius Black. Yeah.
No,
Remus.
no. Asked him how about death. Asked him if death was bad, and he told him it was just like going to sleep fast. Remember that?
Yeah.
He told him death was just like going to sleep fast.
Well, death has been a big theme throughout the story. Even in the very first book, you had Harry kind of dealing with the concept of death or of his parents.
Mm-hmm.
His mother died for him.
Yeah.
Many people throughout the series died for him, and ultimately he had to return the favor. What do you think, though? The series, it's all kind of about death. What do you think it kind of builds up to? What sort of message?
I don't know. It's just.
Well, what sort of death do you think that Harry exemplifies? What sort of?
A brave, very brave. He walked out there, young boy, knowing he was facing death, and he was very, very brave.
Now, what about Voldemort? Voldemort, how did he?
I don't have no use whatsoever.
Yeah, what I mean is, how did he treat death?
He didn't have enough sense to know what death, I don't guess, was.
He was so determined to avoid it that he created 7 horcruxes.
He thought that, and then another thing I didn't talk about was the stone.
The Hallows, yeah.
The 3 Hallows.
Yeah. Which, in their own way, were kind of a way of avoiding death.
If he had those 3 things, if I could get the Elder Wand, and I could get the Resurrection Stone, I could find that invisible cloak, then I'd have it made, wouldn't I?
You would have it made. Though that might not be such a good thing if
you reckon that, which would you look for first?
Oh, well, I think the invisibility cloak would probably be my favorite.
Yeah. Boy, you could do a lot of things with that, could
you? You could. Yeah.
And the second, when Harry and Ginny had children, and Ron and Rennie had children, and there they were at 9:30, 9 3/4, ready to send their kids on the train, just like it was starting all over.
Yeah.
And told his little boy bye-bye. And he didn't know which school he wanted to be in.
Which house?
Which the Slytherins or the one that starts with a G.
Yeah.
One that starts with a G. Godfather.
Yes. Yeah, so what did you think, though, of the ending?
I really don't know whether to say that it was good or bad.
You mean bittersweet?
It just so, I mean, so many things happen that is impossible. So many things that are so impossible, but yet they formed a story to the very end with all that. Oh, of course, I loved Harry, little old booger. He's sweet little thing, wasn't he? Wasn't he?
At times, he got. I warmed to him in the
Sometimes
end.
he was a little bit snooty.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
Sometimes.
Hermione was probably my favorite. I like Hermione. I like
all the way through.
Yeah. Neville, of course.
Neville played a good part. And Ron.
Yeah, Ron.
Mm-hmm.
Fred and George, I loved. I know you were conflicted about the twins. You thought that they
got into that firecracker bit.
Yeah, they got into that firecracker bit, and you weren't really sure what to make of them.
Mm-hmm.
Lupin, I really loved Lupin. So this whole last book was pretty rough for me.
And when they'd go out there in the woods to Hagrid's cabin.
Hagrid, of course, Hagrid.
Mm-hmm.
Who could forget Hagrid?
Yeah, you'd never forget him. I don't know. I may have dreams tonight.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Harry and Dumbledore and
Hermione.
Hermione.
There we go.
Hermione. Oh, she was great.
Yeah.
She was great all the way through. And Jenny. I really liked Jenny too.
Mrs. Weasley, of course.
And Ron.
All the Weasleys.
Mm-hmm.
Even Percy.
Mm-hmm. And I kind of had a little liking, believe it or not, for Draco, because I felt like that he wanted to be on the right side, but
he just wasn't brave enough.
But he wasn't brave enough, and his father was a big influence on him.
Yeah.
Now, going way back to Sirius Black, I liked him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I liked his godfather, and he did good. I liked him.
Yeah, poor Snape. I guess Snape is cut out of the favorites list. I would put him in my favorites, definitely. At least in the movies. Right. I really enjoyed Alan Rickman.
Well, I can't, because he just didn't seem to have very much backbone.
Well, he had enough backbone to keep a secret from Voldemort for ages, and then die for it.
And he had, and I mean, when Harry was in his classes, I mean, he poured it on him.
Yeah, he did. But there are worse things to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he ended up saving Harry's life.
Some kids need that, I guess.
Yeah.
Harry might have been one of them.
Well, I guess that's it, though. Favorite scenes, I guess?
Yeah. I tell you, I don't think I'll ever forget it.
Oh, yeah?
No. I don't think I'll ever. I can just sit and see them in my mind, you know. Almost like looking in that pencil, you know, that Harry would look in and I mean, he would see Voldemort, I mean, and just almost like it was right, he was right there, you know, but it was all in his mind. He was just imagining it. And I tell you, boy, I've enjoyed this, Hannah.
Well, I'm really glad you did. I was not sure what you'd think of it when I first gave you the book.
I know. And I just kept reading and reading. And on that last one, man, I couldn't hardly stop. And then I'd read and I'd read and I'd read. And I finally say, now you gotta go to sleep. Tell Harry bye.
Well, it's been quite a journey.
What we gonna do next?
I have no idea. I guess we'll read some Jane Austen. You know, kick back, get some romance, maybe some Sense and Sensibility. You need more Alan Rickman in your life so that you can appropriately appreciate him. So,
Appreciate it.